Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 horror film Share or Die, a film that is written and directed by Joseph Mazzaferro and Joseph Daniel Thomas, and it stars Lauren Crandall, Logan Van Dyke, Lisa Acaro and Noah Diggs. Now this film is one of those social media type films. You know, when you're on social media, Facebook, things like that, and you get one of these posts that, tells you to share it and there'll be consequences if you don't. Let's be honest, who actually just share them things? Well, this film, it follows the premise of that, basically. There is a social media post that is going round that basically tells you to share this post, otherwise you're going to die in 60 seconds. And it gives you a couple of rules in regards to the sharing and things like that. And in this small community in the US, this post is going haywire. And guess what? Those that share it live, those that don't have got 60 seconds to live. And that's basically the premise here. I mean, there's a little bit of, figuring out what's going on and stuff, but not a lot of it. Essentially, the movie is essentially these teenagers, for the most part, sharing this post. I mean, the thing is, what grated me with this film, what frustrated me with this film, is it actually is playing with an interesting premise here. The two things it had really going for it is the premise. And some of the kills were pretty interesting, pretty graphic, suggested a bigger budget than the film actually had. It's obviously a small budget film, but it frustrated me in a sense of it presents like these news stories and things of this killer app that's going around, or this killer posting on social media, and that teenagers are dying, and etc., etc., etc. And yet these imbecilic teenagers are still playing this stupid game. Some manage to avoid dying within 60 seconds, and some don't. And it gets very dull and tiresome fairly quickly, this film, the premise of it, because it doesn't really get any more inventive than that. And another thing the film does that is really, really annoying is each scene, I would imagine 90% of all the scenes, every scene that starts with some music, like some pop music or some, I don't know, typical nightclub type music. I don't want to sound old, but music that kids listen to, I suppose. And it's every scene that starts, you know what I mean? And I get that this film is probably meant for maybe a younger audience. But you shouldn't funnel your audience like that. It was really grating and frustrating. It was every scene pretty much started with this really annoying poppy music, and it just really got to me and got on my nerves. I was quite impressed in a sense because when they were showing the social media postings, it literally did look like Facebook. I was thinking, is this a Facebook film or something? Because it did look exactly like Facebook. They didn't try and fake it by, calling it Feetbook or something, like these movies tend to do. They call YouTube MyTube and that kind of things. Whereas I don't recall them ever calling it Facebook. It certainly looked like Facebook. So I don't know if they've got a lawsuit on the way or something, but it certainly did look like it. And some of the acting was just, not good enough. Some of it was okay, and I'm not going to name names and give specifics and things like that, but you'll know yourself if you watch the film what I mean. Some of it is just terrible, and like I say, at times it felt like the film had a bigger budget than it had, because some of the kills were pretty impressive, and the special effects in those scenes were much better actually than I expected, and some of the kills were quite inventive. And then it'd be preceded by or followed by a really dull dialogue scene with really some of the worst dialogue that you could ever wish to see in a movie. It was odd and unbalanced, but it certainly had potential, this film. So there's a lot here that I think is a real shame. a lot of it just doesn't work. Like I say, you know, the dialogue and that terrible music, and just it was like rinse and repeat. You know, okay, on to the next teenager, share or die sort of thing. Right, I'm going to share it with this person because I hate them, and they share it. I'm going to share it with this person because they just broke up with me, so they share it. Even though, like I say, there's these news stories plastered everywhere saying there's this killer social media post. You would think, you know, and it doesn't follow its own rules either, the film. You know, in regards to sharing. Where did it originate from? It kind of hints at something, but, you know, who had it originally? You know, it just, if you like, the film just doesn't follow its own rules, and I don't want to spoil too much in case you do choose to watch it. So from my perspective, I thought there was far too much here that didn't work. It did show an awful lot of potential. I don't mind some of these social media like horrors. I thought Host last year was fantastic. But unfortunately for me, this one just didn't work. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10. Probably one to avoid, guys, unless you really are a huge fan of like these social media horrors. I would give this one a miss. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you liked this review. I hope you found it useful, and I will be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.